Pet Goat 2 Revisited. Details omitted, Part 2. Please watch Part 1 if you require more background information. I'll post the video link in the description section of today's video. Here are the main differences between water lilies and lotus flowers. Water lilies, Nymphea, and lotus, Nelumbo, are jewels of the aquatic world. Symbolic in both the ancient and modern world, they are celebrated for their beauty and immortalized in art and religion. Both are pond-blooming plants that emerge from rhizomes and share a rich color palette, but there are some easy ways to tell them apart. Water lily flowers and leaves are thick and waxy, while the lotuses are thin and papery. A water lily also has a recognizable notch in each leaf. The water lily petal is pointed and creates a star-like bloom. The lotus petal is more rounded, sometimes roughly. Lily flowers last longer, up to 2 weeks, then wilt and fall beneath the water. The lotus has a significant seed pod that continues to grow above the water after the inflorescence has passed. The lotus prefers to grow in 12 inches of water and water lilies in 2 to 5 feet. Some water lilies can grow as far north as zone 3 or 4, the lotus is hardy only to zone 9. While both attract insects, the lotus fragrance is more subtle. The water lily has a strong scent at the time of bloom that later fades. Observe the water lily on the left and lotus flower on the right. The water lily petal is pointed and creates a star-like bloom. The lotus petal is more rounded, sometimes roughly. The lotus flower is taller than the water lily. The water lily's flowers float on the water, while the lotus's flowers stick out of the water. An image of water lily leaves versus lotus flower leaves. As previously stated, water lily flowers and leaves are thick and waxy while the lotuses are thin and papery. A water lily also has a recognizable notch in each leaf. Here is an image of water lily seeds versus lotus flower seeds. Trump gifted Pope Francis a bronze rising above lotus flower sculpture during their meeting on May 24, 2017. U.S. President Donald Trump also gave Pope Francis a huge, gold-embossed box set of Martin Luther King's books. In return, the Pope gave him a few sheets of paper. Look at Donald Trump's black and white striped tie, which represents duality. The synthesis of good and evil. The black and white checkered chessboard. Trump's hidden hand that plays both sides of the chessboard. Trump is the beast out of the sea, the son of perdition. Isaiah 14 verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north. Isaiah is referring to Lucifer in this verse. The false prophet causes all people to receive the mark of the beast on the Antichrist's behalf. Pope Francis has said there's a moral obligation to get vaccinated. President Biden called the effort to provide vaccinations an example of America at its finest, and added that they're all meeting what Pope Francis calls the moral obligation, get vaccinated, something which he went on to say, can save your life and the lives of others. In that interview, Pope Francis called vaccination an ethical option because it concerns your life, but also that of others. Freeze the Pet Goat 2 video at the 1 minute and 36 seconds mark, and you'll notice an apple, which I believe represents the Big Apple, New York, the birthplace of the Antichrist Donald Trump. Donald Trump was born in Brooklyn, New York, to be more precise. You'll notice a water lily that blooms from the divided apple. Also, observe the black and white checkered floor, which in the occult world represents duality. Let's go back to the picture of Donald Trump during his meeting with the Pope. Look at Donald's tie. Donald wore a black and white striped tie to his November 24, 2017, meeting with Pope Francis. The hidden hand in Freemasonry represents the Hegelian dialectic, the problem-reaction-solution game. You have the thesis, the antithesis, and the synthesis of the two. Trump is the master of playing both sides of the chessboard. He often poses as both the villain and the hero in many geopolitical, economic and religious situations. For example, Donald Trump claims to be a Presbyterian, but he supports LGBT rights, cannot quote a single verse from the Bible, and celebrates Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. He also celebrates pagan holidays like Samhain, which is Halloween, and Yule, which is Christmas. Freeze the eye, Pet Goat 2 video at the 2 minutes and 27 seconds mark, and you'll notice the Statue of Liberty, which represents the Greek god Phosphorus, who is Lucifer, holding a torch and standing on top of a hendecagram, which is a star polygon that has 11 vertices. The base of the Statue of Liberty, or Phosphorus, or Lucifer, represents a water lily flower. The base of the Statue of Liberty is a hendecagram, star polygon of 11 vertices, or a water lily flower. Fort Wood's star-shaped walls became the base of the Statue of Liberty. Phosphorus equals Lucifer, the morning star in Greek. Phosphorus is the planet Venus in its appearance as the morning star. Another Greek name for the morning star is Eosphorus, meaning the dawn bringer. The form Eosphorus is sometimes met in English. As an adjective, the Greek word phosphorus is applied in the sense of light bringing to, for instance, the dawn, the god Dionysus, pine torches, the day, and in the sense of torch-bearing as an epithet of several gods and goddesses, especially Hecate but also of Artemis, Diana and Hephaestus. Objectively, Venus is the light bringer as she appears most brightly in the sky in December, optical illusion due to days being shorter. The most regular appearance of the planet signaled a beginning of rebirth phase, where the days would get longer and winter would end. Phosphorus equals Lucifer, the morning star in Greek. Trump was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York.
Here is a slightly distorted image of Donald Trump's birth certificate. You might have to use your zoom function to see the lettering Jamaica, New York. We can somewhat see the names Fred Trump and Marianne McLeod on Donald's birth certificate. 85-15 Wareham Place is a house in the Jamaica Estates section of Queens, New York City. It is the childhood home of former U.S. President Donald Trump and is the home listed on his birth certificate. Trump lived there until age 4 when the family moved to a larger house adjacent to the property. It is located on Wareham Place near Henley Road.
Freeze the eye, Pet Goat 2 video at the 3 minutes and 29 seconds mark, and you'll notice a lotus flower, not a water lily, going down a green stream of sludge. Freeze the eye, Pet Goat 2 video at the 5 minutes and 50 seconds mark, and you'll notice several water lily flowers near the boat of Anubis, which the Antichrist Donald Trump is standing in. Anubis represents the Egyptian god of the underworld or the dead. Here is an image of the Hindu prime god Brahma sitting on a lotus flower. Trump caught celebrating the Hindu festival of lights called Diwali.
Honored to be joined by so many administration officials and leaders of the Indian American community. That's true. We're here today to celebrate Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. In a few moments, we will light the ceremony Diya, symbolizing the victory of light over darkness and good or evil, and good over evil, right? As we do so, we especially remember the people of India, the home of the Hindu faith, who have built the world's largest democracy by far. I greatly value my strong relationship with Prime Minister Modi. Peace and prosperity for the new year. It's a tradition that is held dear by more than 1 billion Hindus worldwide. It's also celebrated by millions of Buddhists, Sikhs, and Jains in America, in India, all around the world. Our Indian American neighbors and friends have made incredible contributions to our country, so true, and to the world. You have made extraordinary contributions to art, science, medicine, business, and education. The lighting of the Dia is typically celebrated by families in their homes. Today, we proudly celebrate this in the People's House. We wish all American Hindus and everyone who celebrates Diwali a joyous holiday and blessings of light, goodness, and prosperity throughout the new year. And now we are going to light the Dia.
Here is an image of Siddhartha Gautama Buddha sitting on a lotus flower. The fleur de lis represents the satanic water lily, water rose. The fleur de lis, a symbol of the French presence in North America, has featured on the Quebec flag since 1948 and appears on the flags of a number of other French-speaking communities in Canada and the United States. Quebec is a French-speaking province located in Canada. Here you can see an image of the Quebec flag with 4 fleurs de lis displayed on it. The New Orleans Saints is an NFL football team. I borrowed the following video from On Point Preparedness. Credit to him, I'll post his link in the description section of the video. I believe there are more water lilies in the I, Pet Goat 2 video than lotus flowers. I could only find one scene in I, Pet Goat 2, which shows a lotus flower.
Three days earlier, on May 21st, 2017, with what little free time I had, I picked up the following wild edible book from my collection of about 12 or so wild edible books. Each of these books is several hundred pages long and contain information about hundreds of different plants. I was only able to read a single section about one plant which I had not researched before, and that is the North American lotus plant, known as the Nelumbo lutea. This event by itself is essentially meaningless. That is, until I recognized that one of the gifts that Donald Trump presented to Pope Francis was a bronze sculpture of the exact lotus species I was reading about 3 days earlier. Is it mere coincidence that of all the gifts that Donald Trump could present to Pope Francis, it would be one species of plant out of several thousands of species of plants? And that I, one who committed to his subscribers that this event would be prophetic and that I would be analyzing the symbolism, would have read about this very same species only 3 days earlier. So what is the important symbolism? The lotus is one of the most occult and ancient symbols of the natural world. And the fact that Donald Trump chose this sculpture, which was entitled Rising Above, is of grave concern. The lotus is the flower sacred to the Aryan Hindus, Egyptians, Buddhists, and more. References to it are found in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Jewish mystic religion of Kabbalism, and several other pagan religion texts and sculptures. For the occult, it represents the divine rebirth unto enlightenment, an abstract concept that is brought to life in the concrete or visible form of a lotus. It is, in essence, the same symbolism as the enlightenment of the all-seeing third eye. Egypt, you can see here the 4 sons of Horus being birthed out of the lotus flower. In Buddhism, Buddha is frequently attributed to holding the lotus, and the list goes on and on. The reason why the occult reveres this flower and its symbolism of rebirth unto enlightenment is best described by Helena P. Blavatsky, who is the co-founder of the Theosophical Society, and she writes specifically on the lotus flower. For reference, the Theosophical Society shares ideology and partnership with the Lucis Trust. an organization that directly worships Lucifer and states that he is a misrepresented angel that sacrificed himself for the good of mankind. In her book, The Secret Doctrine, she references a passage from the Kabbalistic manuscripts, which states, "Pointing to like signification was the lotus growing in the waters of the Nile. Its mode of growth peculiarly fitted it as a symbol of reproductive activities. The flower of the lotus, which is the bearer of the seed for reproduction, as the result of its maturing, is connected by its placenta-like attachment with Mother Earth, or the womb of Isis, through the water of the womb, that is, the river Nile, by means of the long cord-like stalk, the umbilicus. Nothing can be plainer than the symbol, and to make it perfect in its intended signification, a child is sometimes represented as seated in or issuing from the flower." So you can now see how the occult viewed the flower as a symbol of rebirth as a child, or this rebirth into enlightenment, represented by a child coming out of the flower head. The Kabbalistic manuscript continues with the sexual and reproductive symbolism of the lotus. It states the locality of the womb is to be taken as the most holy place, the sanctum sanctorum, and the veritable temple of the living God. This falls in line with all occult practices as they practice sex magic and literally worship the female body. She also makes note of the lotus from the ancient Egyptian ritual Book of the Dead, which has a section entitled Transformation into the Lotus. It states, "A head emerging from this flower, the god exclaims, 'I am the pure lotus, emerging from the luminous one. I carry the message of Horus. I am the pure lotus which comes from the solar fields.'" So, I believe that the Antichrist spirit was definitely at work in this meeting. Any multitude of gifts could have been given to Pope Francis. Books, medallions, sentimental items, other pieces of art, etc. But out of these multitudes, Donald Trump chose the lotus. As the Egyptian Book of the Dead states, is Donald affirming that he carries the message or gift of Horus, an enlightened message, essentially from Lucifer.
The image of the beast, crowning, corona means crown in Latin, the antacorona, spiritual bridge, with DNA-altering messenger ribonucleic acid. God commands us to fear him and him alone, not man or plagues or animals or anything else. Many people, out of fear, have taken the DNA-altering mRNA-loaded beer 19 shots and defiled their DNA and body, the temple of God. Donald Trump is the father of Operation Warp Speed. These vaccinated people cast their crowns before the Antichrist when they get vaccinated. Notice the symbols of the Operation Warp Speed logo. The antacorona is a symbol that looks like a swastika. We know how the coronavirus symbol looks. The antacorona symbol is a part of the Operation Warp Speed logo. The antacorona is part of spiritual anatomy. It is the connection between the physical brain and the higher self. This is the connection that must heal and develop in order to grow spiritually. This symbol activates this connection each time we are in his presence. This brief video explains the meaning of the antacorona.
The Antakarana is often called the Rainbow Bridge, or the Bridge of Light. The Antakarana is literally translated as the inner organ. It is a stream of lighted energy which connects the highest aspects of our energy system with the lower aspects. Until the Antakarana is built, there is no means by which the spiritual triad or the monad, let us say the spirit of man, can connect with his normal personality mind. The Antakarana is built scientifically. Building the Antakarana is one of the higher stages of meditation. The consciousness of the lower man can ascend into the higher worlds via the Antakarana. One builds the Antakarana through the use of intensity of focus, the creative imagination, and the art of intensified projection of a beam of light across the already imagined bridge of light. There are 6 stages to building the Antakarana, and we human beings mostly focus on the first 3: intention, visualization, projection. These stages lead to an evocation of the higher life.
The egoic lotus. I won't get into more details about the egoic lotus. The egoic lotus in Hinduism represents the highest chakra, also known as the head chakra, that connects to the spirit, called the monad. New Age teachings by Alice Bailey and the Lucis Trust go into greater detail about the meaning of the egoic lotus. I don't believe in any of these Hindu, Buddhist, or New Age teachings. My goal as a watchman of the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is to expose the works of darkness of Satan and the son of perdition, Donald Trump. If you want to find out more information about the egoic lotus, please research the work of the Lucis Trust and the deceased New Age witch known as Alice Bailey. In conclusion, there is no hope left for anybody who has taken these DNA-altering CV19 mark of the beast jabs loaded with messenger ribonucleic acid. They are eternally damned. But, what about the children? What about Adam, whom God punished for Eve's disobedience? What about all the children who died during the Great Flood during the time of Noah? What about all the children who died during the fireball event that took place in Sodom and Gomorrah? Parents are accountable for their young ones. If parents lack faith, then the devil will deceive them and their young ones. Wisdom is important. The Holy Spirit only reveals knowledge to those who pursue the highest virtue of all the virtues, the truth. The image of the beast equals the Operation Warp Speed logo. The mark of the beast equals the CV19 DNA altering shots loaded with messenger ribonucleic acid that defile the temple of God. Transhumanism. The name of the beast is Donald John Trump. The number of his name is the 45th American president. The beast's number is 666.